Alright, guys, it's time to talk all things vengeance. I've gone around and collected all the polls I can from the ESO forums and YouTubers. We're going to have a look at that as a whole so we can see kind of where people are at. I also want to discuss performance because, as good as it has been, it's not flawless and there is issues. So let's discuss them. So let's get into it. All right, my personal experience with Vengeance was an interesting one. I went into it initially very negatively because, in my mind, beta testing something for a company that's made over $1 billion is just stupid. Unless they're going to reimburse my time or give me some decent rewards that, encourage me to want to test this for them. And we didn't get that. We got some AP and gold, which was no incentives at all. Um, so yeah, I had a negative look at the whole thing, but I gave it a shot. I wasn't going to write it off completely, and I found myself having fun. And I think the underlying issue of why I was having fun is it's just different. And I think for a lot of people, that is also the reason why they had a lot of fun because it was something different. But I personally couldn't enjoy those large scale battles because, in my mind, if you take me out of 100-man Zerg, that's not going to change the fight. And if I can't personally feel like I'm achieving something, then I don't have as much fun as I would if I was. Now, this is a me problem because obviously a lot of people enjoy running around in massive Zergs and they have a blast. And I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying we're different. So I struggled to enjoy those really big fights. But the smaller fights we could find here and there were quite fun. And I think it shows us a lot of what is wrong with normal Cyrodiil. It's the meta. We have not seen a change of meta in Cyrodiil for probably over 3 years now. Update 35? Somewhere around that? I'm telling you, it all went to the shit after Update 35. That was the start of the end for a lot of things. But we haven't had a change in meta, so people are bored. And when you get something new and shiny in front of you like Vengeance, people are going to have fun. But I think we need to be very cautious about how we're giving our feedback back to Zos. Because I have seen thumbnail, title after title from content creators that Zos has fixed Cyrodiil, Zos fixed PvP, and it's like, no, they didn't. They just deleted 98% of the game. That doesn't mean they fixed it. I mean, as a YouTuber, I know not to read into these titles and stuff, but I'm just worried that Zos will read into these titles too much, and what will happen is we'll get a half-baked Vengeance campaign. So I went around and found all the polls I could, and they're up on screen right now. Now, I think these aren't necessarily a great representation of the overall player base, but we can definitely see there is a lot of people on the fence about Vengeance, and the total of people that actually liked it is somewhere between 20 and 30%. So 1/3 of the player base loved it, the rest didn't or were indifferent to it pretty much. The polls are up, you can take what you want from them, but I was a little bit surprised that the positivity didn't show in these polls as much as it has in Zone Chat. I've also noticed these polls change over the week too. They were a bit more positive earlier on, especially the one on the forums was a little bit more positive at the start of the week and has gradually changed a bit. So yeah, they're the polls. Let's talk about performance because it was interesting. All right, so performance. Now, I think a lot of people are getting very excited about this campaign in the sense that it worked. But I want to just tell everyone to be a bit cautious because, yes, it worked pretty well during the start of the week. There wasn't really any problems I could speak for besides the underlying dig sync issues and the underlying game issues. Besides from them, there wasn't really anything wrong with performance. But as the week went on, and as we come into the weekend, and Zos upped that population cap, we started to see issues. We started to see some lag, so ping lag. I was monitoring this through exit lag and ping plotter to make sure it wasn't my connection that was lagging, and majority of the time it wasn't. It was the server having issues. And when I say ping spikes, I mean I was up into 320s sometimes and stuff like that. But the bigger problems started to show their face, and rubber banding become a problem. And I've got clips of this. Then other weird things started to happen, like resource flag didn't render in as I ran into it, and the players didn't render in straight away. Then they rendered in, and I got put into a load screen and booted 100 meters back from where I actually was. And then another case of me just running to a keep, and the ground stopped rendering in. The textures stopped rendering in, and it wouldn't let me move past that spot. And these aren't anything new. These are all things I've seen in ESO in the past. But it shows that Vengeance isn't this secret thing that just fixes everything. Even if Zos moves forward with Vengeance, there is underlying issues. Desyncing is a big problem. I think most people don't even realize when they die to it half the time. My point is, there is underlying issues with this game that Vengeance will not fix. Editing Johnny here, real quick. I thought I'd mention this because it's interesting. The rubber banding and dropping from the server and all of this stuff that's going on in the footage that you can see can actually result in you getting a ban for speed hacking. And I know that sounds a bit insane, but what is going on here is the server's dropping you, you're here, it's picking you back up, and you've moved all the way over here in no time. So the server thinks you're speed hacking. It can't tell that you're dropped from the server and then picked back up by the server. It just knows you've traveled that distance in no time. Zos's anti-cheat isn't an anti-cheat, basically. It's just a set of hard limits, and it doesn't know when you've gone past those hard limits through server performance issues or through legitimate hacks and cheats. So that's why it happens. Thought it was funny and worth mentioning. Anyway, back to me. That being said, of course it was much better. They deleted 98% of the game. Is anyone surprised that it was better? I think we just need to be very cautious more moving forward about Vengeance. It isn't this fix-all that some people are claiming it is. And I think us saying it's a fix-all is very, very dangerous. So let's move on to my final thoughts about this, and we can wrap this video up. Alright, my final thoughts on Vengeance is this. Does it matter? Does any of it matter? Because Zos has done so many PvP tests over the years, drastic PvP tests too, like big ones, not quite as big as Vengeance, but we've seen big changes in Cyrodiil happen. And what did we actually get at the end of the day after all those tests were done? What did we get? We got 12-man groups. And the reason why we got 12-man groups, they deleted from the game anyway, so the 12-man group thing is pointless. Actually pointless. So, yeah, half of me just thinks that this is done. We won't hear anything about this for another 2-3 years, and then it will be something that doesn't really matter. The other part of me is very scared of this test because there's a lot of positive feedback about it, and I'm scared Zos will take that positive feedback and blindly go forward with Vengeance, and they'll sprinkle in a few sets, sprinkle in a couple passives, give it a little bit more, and then call it a day and release it to us. I am worried that that's what will happen. On one hand, I think Zos will do nothing, and on the other, I'm worried that they'll do something. But Zos should have one big, massive takeaway from all of this is The amount of people that want a PvP in your game is huge when it works. And they should be seeing dollar signs in every one of those Zergs out there. And it should be the kick up the butt that ZOS needs to actually take PvP seriously. Actually take Vengeance and turn it into a product that is good. Not some half-baked thing that you're going to release and then won't touch again for 4 years. And then, like, hybridization system. How long has that been going on? And it's still not fully finished. Like, ZOS just has a long track record of releasing half-baked things. I don't know. Cyrodiil, as it is, isn't working, so maybe we need some drastic action like Vengeance. Anyway, boys and girls, let me know what your thoughts are on Vengeance in the comment section. And as always, I love yous, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.